In July, around mid-July, I signed a tenancy agreement for 12 months via an estate agency. They were acting as the middleman. Now, subsequently, approximately 10 days later, I found out through a letter in the post that the property that I had just rented out was subject to enforcement proceedings. The council had, in fact, written a letter to say that the property didn't pass planning permission, and consequently, they are now taking up enforcement proceedings, i.e., demolishing the building.
Demolishing the whole building.
Yes, the property,
Wow.
The section of the property that wasn't aligned with planning permission.
Okay, sorry, carry on.
Yeah, so I subsequently sort of contacted the council to find out, if this was indeed a plausible letter, because the estate agents were minimising the issue. They were saying, "Oh no, it's nothing. It's just it's rumours, etc." But the principal lawyer at the council said this is indeed true. The enforcement proceedings is set to take place. No appeal has been launched as of yet, so we're going ahead in full force. Apparently, the managing agent were aware of the issue prior to engaging in any discussions about the property, but they omitted the information from any conversations we had had. And I sort of felt very much, lost. So I contacted the estate agent. I said, "Look,
just ask me the question you've got for me."
The question is the tenancy contract, a legitimate one? I've said to the estate agent, "Look, I want my money back."
Have you moved in?
I moved in because I moved in, but I haven't been able to unbox anything properly because I sort of came to realise very early on.
Yeah. Okay, huge. Let me give you an answer. First of all, one further question. I'm assuming, it sounds obvious, but I just want to rule it out, that your landlord is not also the council. It's a private landlord, I assume, given you.
It's a private landlord, yes.
Yep. Okay, fine.
Yes.
So, you have a tenancy agreement. Did you say it was a 12-month agreement?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, you have a 12-month tenancy agreement, and you are legally entitled, under your tenancy agreement, to occupy that property for 12 months. However, the landlord isn't going to keep up his end of the bargain if the building gets knocked down, because he won't be allowing you to live in the property for 12 months. Therefore, the landlord will be in breach of the tenancy agreement, and at that point, you are entitled to walk out. Well, you'll have been thrown out long before then. I'm laughing, it's not funny, but you'll have left before then and not pay any further rent. What I'm afraid I don't think you can do is reverse the contract now while you're in the building, once you've taken possession. And that's for a very simple reason. It's because you are living there. And although the council might intend to demolish, there's dozens of steps, or at least a few steps, that the landlord can take to delay and even prohibit demolition. For example, the landlord can apply for a certificate of lawful use, which is effectively a certificate saying the building's been like that for 4 years, and once 4 years has expired, you're not allowed to knock it down. Or they can apply for retrospective planning permission, so put in an application now, even if they didn't do so at the time they should have done. And either of those processes takes months and months and months, if not a year or more. So there's every possibility, Huge, that you could be there perfectly happily in 12 months' time. And I'd have thought the risk of demolition is actually very slim, unless your landlord doesn't challenge it. If your landlord doesn't challenge it, there will be a notice of possession against you. The bailiffs will come and you'll be evicted, and that will effectively discharge the tenancy, and any additional rent you have to pay to another landlord over and above the rent you're paying to this landlord would be something you can sue the landlord for.
Okay. I mean, I was considering taking the landlord to small claims court because this is the sort of information that if I had been made aware of prior to signing the tenancy, I wouldn't have taken up the tenancy. I'm in a very pensive state now where I'm thinking, well, I can't unbox anything because I don't know how long is going to be left before the council comes back and says, actually, planning permission hasn't been approved. I effectively have stopped paying rent because I need, in my view, to find a property that is actually going to accommodate me and my family, long term without this sort of issue, looming in the background.
Yeah. Well, it's one. Start that again. Not paying rent is always a risky tactic because, again, you in the house, you're living there. And I doubt anything's going to happen for the next 12 months because there are so many steps that can be taken to delay this. Not paying rent can actually result in the landlord seeking possession against you and claiming damages for any ongoing losses if the house is then vacant or void for a period of time. So that's not always the best approach. I know this is incredibly frustrating and it's a cause of incredible stress for you. I also don't think you can sue the landlord, I'm afraid, for misrepresentation, because unless they lied to you or misrepresented something to you, for example, you asked them if the building had planning permission and they said, yes, it did, that would be a misrepresentation. Unless they've misrepresented something to you, they don't have an active duty to draw problems to your attention. Something called caveat emptor, let the buyer beware, which is terribly unfair and which I think should be changed in this sort of situation, but that's what the law is. Huge, thank you so much for your call. I'm going to move on only because of time, but it does sound like you've got a real problem that's not your fault. And I'd love to hear from you again in a few months' time, Huge, if you could update us and tell us what has happened. But I think the landlord's going to engage in these tactics like a certificate of lawful use or an application for retrospective planning permission, which will mean you're going to have your year there quite happily and without any interruptions.